Okay, so I'm gonna now choose first of all the English channel. So probably the Spanish speakers will have my translation. I think this is all right. I hope. Thank you very, very much for coming, everyone. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to have Pete and some people from the team of Chickenshed. So we are ASSITEJ. We are an organization who tries to make performing arts accessible for children and youth. This talk today is framed in a project we've got called Circuito ASSITEJ, in which we have commissioned a series of talks with professionals who have focused on accessibility and inclusion. That's why we thought Chickenshed was an amazing and wonderful example to share and to, as an inspiring project to share with here in Spain with other professionals. So, Pete, I'll let you there. I'm going to stop talking, and anything, please, there is a chat and we can communicate via chat. Maybe it's easier. Yeah. Thank you very, very much.
Brilliant, Al. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. As the amazing introduction, as we can tell, speaking in two languages throws up communication problems, but our organisation, and I'm sure all the organisations here, are about breaking down barriers. So we know that there are barriers and hopefully we've overcome those. My name's Pete Dowse. I'm a creative producer at Chickenshed. We've got a lot of our amazing Tales from the Shed team and a wider team. Different people are going to speak at different times here about experiences, and we've got a very simple PowerPoint, which is in English at the moment, but we will do a translation that can be sent out to everyone. Also within the program, people watching, there are people that have had impact, Anna especially. Between the English and Spain theatre. A little bit of chat anytime. You can obviously put things in the chat, but we do have Bassi here, who is a Spanish speaker. So if you ask questions in Spanish, he'll be able to translate and be able to get it back to you. So there's lots of different ways, and the hope is that we can find. So Chickenshed started 49 years ago. It's our 50th anniversary next year. The strange name is Chickenshed. Every place we go, they say, "Where's the chickens?" The reason it's called Chickenshed is the originators, Mary Ward and Joe Collins, were looking for a place where children and youths could access the arts without having to have auditions or being chosen. They were looking in the North London area. There wasn't any places that were accessible or that were within our range. And luckily then a lady called Lady Elizabeth Byng had a chicken shed. So the actual first sessions were in a chicken shed and the name stuck. So in many ways, although it's a strange name, it actually opens quite a lot of doors because it kind of stands out. And once you get past the children being upset that we're not actually chickens, it kind of gives us a modus operandi that allows us to be different from the rest. And we think of difference as a strength, not as a weakness. The major thing about Chickenshed, again, I say about an open door policy. And one of the main things we say as an organisation is that everyone that enters the building or comes into contact with us changes the work. It's not a top-led where we have a definite outcome the whole time. It's a people-led organisation. And the team here, which you will hear from, won't be me banging on the whole time. The team here is from all the different areas of Chickenshed, which is youth theatre, student, young company, adult company. We run all 7 days a week here at our purpose-built theatre. It's a 370 roughly Sita. We do main house shows, studio shows, children's shows, happenings, experiences, workshops, and the students study within the theatre. So I'd like to introduce you to Kieran here, who's like this is not like a status symbol. She wants to sit on the floor. Kieran, come up a little bit.
Hello.
This is Kieran, and we've called this the power of this training session, or sharing. And is obviously what we think of one of the most powerful words. Co-produced is what we believe all of the work should be. So we're going to talk a lot about the power of and duality. Kieran and I are from kind of new and old. I've been involved with Chickenshed for ages, and Kieran's only for a few years. So it's about the ability to have people with different experiences. So Kieran's just going to give you a little chat about her experience of Chickenshed and the Tales team. There you go.
Hiya. So I joined about, I think, 6 years ago. I studied and I did the BTEC, the FD, and then the BA. So the BTEC's about
English qualifications,
which are English qualifications. So the BTEC,
further education qualifications.
The BTEC's a 2-year, and then the FD is a 2-year, and then the BA is a 1-year top up, which is like a bachelor's degree. Which is a bachelor's degree. And then I got introduced to Tales from the Shed when I was in my first year at Chickenshed, and I realised how different it is, wanting to be a performer, but then realising that how a theatre space can open so many different doors, and got introduced to the young years program.
En el mundo de los de los niños más pequeños.
And then I think I've been doing Tales from the Shed for ever since then, so about 5 years now, which is crazy. Because time goes so quickly, I don't even realise how quick it's gone. And so I think after graduating and still having the opportunity to become part of the team and still work here, has, made me realise that there is lots of different doors that you can go into, even if you just wanted to come and perform, and how that there are lots of different ways of learning and teaching, and how that's really important. Because growing up and being someone who doesn't understand, I wasn't really good in like education. I didn't really understand English, and I didn't really understand maths. And so finding out that there are other ways of teaching, and that's not a bad thing, is really important. And so I feel really empowered to be that person and to give those other techniques to other people who might find those subjects quite challenging. And then and that's me now.
So Kieran's a perfect example of someone that came with passion and belief in the arts, and she's one of in this building. She works across almost every division and every program, and she's a real advocate for the way that people can have skills but also be sense of humility. Our thing is that we try not to leave any kind of self at the door. We have a collegiate approach, so in our sessions when we're making the shows, we have up to 40 people involved in our program, 20 of who have come through the special school system, and they have the same voice and the same access as everyone else does. So I think it's an English word. Is collegiate an English word? French. Well, where it came from, it's a great word, and it centres on the idea of no head of it's like the English myth of King Arthur and the Round Table. There's no one at the head of the table, so at any point, even in this meeting, we could switch around these roles, although my name's on it and it's spelt wrong, which is kind of synonymous with our program. So Almunia, can you put up the first slide for us, please? So this is
Yes,
we did some work in America in 2018 in New York, setting up a Chickenshed and a Tales from the Shed there. So we wrote kind of the 10
So Pete is trying to join with another user.
Hello.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can see you.
There
Can
we
you not
go.
hear us?
We have to. Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Oh, you can, but only through this, but not through that.
Yeah, exactly. Through the phone. We can hear you through the phone and we can see you through the phone. Is that okay?
Here we go. So
Here
sorry,
we go.
everyone.
Okay.
We'll redo this meeting at some point for you. It's not Almunia's fault. It's our technology. Oh, so here we go. The first picture. Is it still on there? Tom? Oh, he's gone there. Okay. So Almunia, if you bring it up to the next bit. So the superpower of code that's us together. So this is the fundamentals. This is the first thing that we talk about the whole time. I'll just read it and it should then interpret. An audience of children are the most sophisticated and intuitive audience. They will see straight through the fake, the insincere, the unimaginative, and the uninteresting, and will mimic these and become very quickly or simply switch off. We find a lot of theatre, especially children's theatre, it's people doing it possibly as a job and not as a passion. And in most cases, that kind of leads to what Peter Brook called dead theatre, where there's an outcome already decided on, and the children with their perception know that they're not part of it, that they are simply there fulfilling the wishes of the actors. So we make sure that all of our actors are in tune with the fact that they are there for their audience, for their children, and that we try and keep off as much as possible the kind of very, I'm not sure if it happens in Spain, but there has been a very stereotypical way of English television when speaking to children that becomes very, every moment, everything is the best thing you've ever seen. Look, there's a bottle. What a bottle. Do you like bottles? Which has a place, but does become literally very one-paced and slightly robotic. So our mission statement is that we shall be true. And I think when you look in any audience member's mind, but certainly in the children's eyes, they know whether you're present and on the journey together, or if you're going through your lines that you've learnt and waiting for the bows at the end before you can leave. One experience I always say, I saw an absolutely brilliant show at a children's festival, technically brilliant, sounded superb. The actors then came into the bar after the show, and as the children were coming out, they were kind of having their own debrief, and they didn't really, the children kind of didn't exist, and that kind of totally destroyed the real reason for the show, because it's not the children leaving would then have had an impression of seeing these great actors who then might as well have been in a different town. So genuine, open communication and sharing is our number one fundamental. And with the phrase, there's no edge of the stage in our shows. Audience and performers interact and can change roles, and that there's the line from A to B is reached, but it's not a straight line. It has the curves of countries and of spaghetti and of railways. So that's fundamental number one. Oh, well, that's the fundamentals. If we can go to number one, please, Almunia, if you move it up a little bit. Here we go. Keir, would you do this ones? No. Bas, would you just read these out for us?
Yeah.
So let me introduce you to Sebastian here. He's been in Chickenshed longer than I have. When we get on to the characters you see in the corner here, the blurs, Bassi made the first blur, which is the pink and blue characters at the left and right of the screen. That's our number one character. And in a weird quirk of fate, Bassi made the first ones with his Spanish heritage. And then Anna, who's on here, took over and made the blurs as well. So these characters have a dual passport already, which is a very nice thing. So Bas, do you want to just say a little bit about yourself, then you can talk about these?
So I joined Chickenshed when I was about 7. I'm now 51, so it's a little while. I grew up through the juniors, like the children's theatre group, through the youth theatre and up into the company. Started working just after I finished school. Then I've gone to university and come back. Then I've gone to dance school and come back. I've worked internationally through Brazil. I think it's okay. All over Europe, all sorts of places. I work for professional companies outside as well, in both theatre and aerial theatre and dance. So I have a lot of experience that I always bring back and I share with my Chickenshed experience, which makes it all a richer experience for everyone. So yeah, whenever I go away, as in outside of Chickenshed, I always come home at the end of it. Generally just because I think when you've been part of Chickenshed for such a long time, wherever you go, you take it with you. It's not something you add on to what you are. It is a part of your being, part of how you are, part of how you speak, part of how you interact with people. And that goes through everyday life and also in performing arts. I will move on to number 1.
Yeah.
Number 1 says, the show should be able to work visually without any sound and vice versa. All the senses should be engaged at all times.
So hopefully, if we can come out to you and do some tales out there, that would be what we'll be looking at. That language is a big part, but it's only part of the spectrum of communication and theatre. And we hope to have that energy and colour and drive that you don't necessarily have to understand each word. A lot of research on about how important the visuals are in communication generally. So we try and have it that it's not a theatre of word, or it's not a theatre of image. It's a theatre of the world.
Number two, the show is made of many sequences. Each should be markedly different from the previous. This is based on the Brechtian methodology of a short, sharp shock every couple of minutes. So performances will always have multiple themes.
So that comes from, as Bas was saying, and Kieran was on, I taught Kieran, which I'm very proud to now have her on the team. I taught background to theatre and world theatre here. So we try and bring Brechtian, Boel, Peter Brook, big theatre pillars and practitioners into the work. Children deserve to have the same level of kind of resource and theory as everyone else. It's just obviously you have to present it in those bite sizes so that we can get to them. Although a lot of the work that our team does works equally as well with young children as adults. There's not actually that much difference. There's a very little tweaking needed to make shows work across the age groups. And then the third piece was what I said before, there's no edge of the stage. And this, a lot of the shows that we do, when the audience first come in and they sit on the floor or on the seats, if their children then start to come towards the stage, they're petrified and kind of creep and try and get the child back. But we say, no, it's fine. So a lot of the time the actors will have the children around them, and that's completely fine as long as they're safe and we're not to trip over them. They're allowed to stay in the space, because otherwise you're setting up the barrier first of all. Again, it's back to this thing of we're sit down, watch what we're doing, don't interrupt because I've got to say my line, then Kieran's got to say her line. We don't do any of that. And as you'll see, going through the points, there are, it's even bigger than that. But the first thing is the children and the adults we interact with someone that way around. You don't have to hide and not be part of it. You're welcomed in. And a lot of the parents kind of impose their fear of theatre on their children. One of my favourite facts is that more people have stage fright than are scared of spiders. So one of the things we try and do is demystify the arts and make people feel comfortable being in the theatre space. Next one, please, Elmun. I'd like to introduce you to Viv. Is that okay, Viv?
Yeah, sure.
I think we're on this one.
Lovely.
Viv, do you want to just say a little bit about your background and what you help with the team? Then we'll read these.
Sure. So I'm a trained speech and language therapist, but retired for 10 or so years. And I used to have theatre as a hobby until I moved to London and found Chickenshed. And so now I combine my theatre knowledge, my communication knowledge, my child development knowledge all in one. And I work with the team, helping them develop material that is age appropriate or can push the boundaries a little bit more, just making sure that we're looking at the developmental levels. And what I love is I can throw out something theoretical and the team will just create this amazing piece around it. So that's where I come from. Number 4 is that the show starts when the first audience member enters a space and finishes when the last one leaves.
So obviously that's this thing that Mary, our founder, always said, that to have a relationship with the audience. We get a lot of children that come back a lot on a lot of visits. So you build a relationship, you learn from what their likes and dislikes are, and have a sharing from that first moment. Again, it's this thing that while there's somebody sitting in the audience in the seats, the show is alive. We try and get our actors as much as possible to take on that concept of the show. The running time is like 50 minutes, but the show itself is kind of an hour and 5 or an hour and 10 because there's audience coming in. We did a show at the Purcell Rooms at the Royal Albert Hall, which kind of pushed the boundaries of this because they opened the doors 45 minutes early, so we had audience in there. So we basically did a 3.5 hour show. So it's a great concept. It works really well if it's a short time, but we still stayed true to that. The audience were then was still engaged rather than waiting for something different. Point number 5, please, Viv.
Lovely. Number 5, it's impossible to do 2 identical shows.
I think this is for every show, but we've got we've got Vicky Ireland here, who is an amazing practitioner. She could speak on this for a long time. Any show is not going to be the same because it's a different audience and it's a different day and stuff. But the shows that we perform in and believe in is that they are for that audience at that time. You bring lots of ideas, and this is one of the later points. But it can't be the same show. It's impossible because of you're allowing an audience in, and that should be a freeing exercise that the outcomes aren't set. It's like every day. It's our daily lives. No one day is the same. Why would you constantly repeat something in its exact beat? Number 6, please.
Number 6. The actors mustn't hide what they think of as mistakes.
So Bassie's an amazing proponent of this, with all of his outside skills. We'll have Bassie on and we'll have an actor or performer with not the same experience as Bass or some of the same technical skills that may not do the same things as Bass, but that's not a mistake. That is part of the process. So we don't apologize for not all being the same. And with the cast that I've been talking about, up to 40 people, we try and show kind of the landscape of society on stage. And if you're apologizing for that, that kind of puts in a weird dynamic. So we don't, if a line's are missed, or if people do something slightly different, we embrace that as a difference rather than as a problem. Thank you, Almon, for shooting through them. On to the next one. Em, do you want to come and introduce yourself?
Yeah.
And this has worked out so well. So there's Em up in the corner above picture 9 with Funky Monkey. One's a monkey and one's Em.
Okay.
Em, do you want to just talk a little bit about your journey, and then you can read a couple of these, if that's okay? So talking to there.
Yeah. My name's Emma, and I've been with Chickenshed since like when I was 7, so it's been a long time for me being here. I've done all kinds of things. I studied as a children's theatre and I did the BTEC course, I did the foundation course and the BA course, which I got a 2-2 in. And I've done lots of performances and stuff here, and it's like a whole big family for me. So it's like, what did I say?
So you want to read number 7?
I'll read number 7. It may be impossible to action every one of the audience requests, and they must be acknowledged.
They must be acknowledged. So that's we've had shows up to in the festival, our biggest audience was 3,500, and if you're saying to 3,500, we want to hear your ideas, it would be impossible in that time frame to do 3,500 people's ideas, but we want somehow to look at the child, to engage with the child and know that they've been heard. So, but obviously in smaller shows, an example, we had somebody from South America, we've got a crocodile character, and it kept saying, yeah, crocodilio, crocodilio, it's a crocodilio, crocodilio. And then we changed the character's name to that, so which is the character's name to this day. So again, it's the impact of the child within the piece, knowing that they are a active ingredient rather than a passive recipient. Number 8, please, Em.
Okay, 1 second. The best improvisation is the top of the iceberg that tells material. Cast should learn as much tales material as they can to allow improvisation to happen around this.
So a lot of the time people say, oh, you just turn up and do the show. We basically rehearse all year round to have as big a capacity to interact with the children's stories that they may know, or to have the ability to tangent off from what was being said to react to that. So we don't improvise. We have a index which is brought out rather than a script which is presented. So this idea, again, it's not a unique idea, but improvisation plays a part, but you can only improvise if you have a solid base. We don't just turn up and just say whatever you want. You have knowledge and skills and dances and music at your fingertips that are ready for this to take the journey off the A to the B, and to create its new journey. Again. Number 9.
Number 9. Puppets are everything that isn't alive. Everything else we can bring to life.
So this is into what Bass and Anna there, and Almunia's. I mean, we're talking Almunia, who is the host of this, is an amazing puppeteer, and she'd be able to talk more about this. But children think that objects are alive until they're 7. That's Piaget's teaching, is that children believe that. That's obviously what Disney's based on, bed knobs and broomsticks and things coming to life. We try and do that because we do a lot in schools or hospitals. You could animate objects all around the space, everyday objects. In the same way as that we don't use all of our brains, we feel very much that any space, not necessarily a theatre space, but all spaces have many more opportunities than are used at all times. We just want to show you the progression of that. We've got some blurs here, so we can get some blurs. So you saw blur at the bottom of all of these spaces. You can see in picture 10 there. That's right. Go to number 10, Almond. This has worked so well. There's Kieran up the top there. At the bottom, there's one of the original blurs in the bottom left corner. And the middle picture is Planet Play, where the scarves are being thrown by the children. So blur is the ultimate component element of what we say about being characters developed. Blur first started out as a sock puppet, a one-eyed sock puppet that when you open the mouth, the tongue fell out. We didn't know what to do with it, but the children started to say blur every time it's opened its mouth. From that, Bassi then designed the first blur, which is a pink blur, which is being recanvassed at the moment. But was it blue? Pink? Yeah, pink. Yeah, it's being recanvassed at the moment. And now we have blurs of every colour, creed, and design. The children make some blurs. We have the 7 blurs of the rainbow. We've got red blur here. This is baby blur. Some of the smaller blurs are used and given out to the children so that they can use them. If a child comes up to us, unless there's some really big point, the child could then use that puppet at that moment. And we have as I say, the rainbow colours. We have keep fit blurs. We have different voices for each of the blurs, and they are without doubt the character that has transcended all of our sessions in Russia before it turned bad, and America, and they have a resonance with the child. I mean, it's almost impossible to get away from kind of the Muppets and Sesame Street because of the kind of design, but these are easy to make, incredibly impactful puppets. We've just been doing a three-year project where we made the children design the blurs, and we've left them there. It's 18 months after that project finishes, and every time we drive past, there's a child having the puppet out in the playground. So and again, these are co-produced. The children of the time who are now adults would remember we go to loads of places and they go, oh my word, my 18-year-old saw this, and they still remember Blur. So again, the impulse was not let's design something. It was, here's something, let's hear the other voices, and it progresses to this. And we have his rainbow blur. I'm going to do a little bit in English, then Bassie's going to do a little Spanish bit for you. So, hi everybody, thanks for coming on the Zoom. Nice to see you, Vicky. Wow, I like your room in there, Vicky. So Kenny's here. He does some singing. Hello, Anna. Anna, we love you. We miss you. You made the best blurs. I'm a blur that wants to be you. It's so good to see you. Thank you for listening to these guys bang on about all these things. We believe in the power of imagination and looking in at you guys. Wow, you look amazing. I wish I was there. Can't stand these guys. I want to introduce you to one of my friends. It's a Spanish player. He's just going to say a few words for you here. Come in, guy.
Hola, todo mundo. Me llamo Blur el Amarillo. Llevo mucho tiempo aquí y necesito bañarme porque estoy un poco sucio hoy. Pero entre poco, bueno, adiós.
Good to see everyone. And now, because we do the rainbows and we are rainbow colors, Kieran is going to teach you all in Spanish Sign Language the 7 colors of the rainbow. Kieran and Viv are going to do this for you. Kieran, come over here, please.
Oh yeah. If you could take the PowerPoint off so then everyone can see us. So the first color, if you can come in. First color we're going to do is red. So if you all grab your thumb and your finger like this, and then you're going to bring it to your lip, and this is the sign for red in Spanish. Red. Lovely. What's the next one? Yellow. So the sign for yellow is the English sign for party. So this is the sign for party, but for Spanish it's yellow, and you go like this. Yellow. Yellow. So red, go back to red, out, and then yellow, twist.
And green.
Lovely. And then the next one, red, yellow, pink is your 2 fingers, peace sign, and then you put it on your lip, and then you bring it down to your chin. So it goes lip, chin, and then you say the word pink, pink. So from the beginning, red, red, yellow, pink, then green. Just gonna go to orange. Green is you take your finger like this and you go that way. So out and then in, and you say green. Yeah, beginning. This is really good practice to learn. So red, yellow, pink, green. Then it's orange. Orange is my favorite because it's just squeezing an orange just under your chin. Orange. Lovely. Who can see this transcript recording on? And then, oops. Then the next one is purple. So what you do is you grab your two fingers and then your thumb is like in the middle of them. So your thumb is in the middle of your two fingers like that. And they're still straight like this. And you go purple. Purple. There we go. We've got purple there. And I'm in purple too. Lovely. And then the last one is blue, isn't it? So blue, your four fingers like this and your thumb is tucked in back. And then you go from your thumb facing outwards, you turn your hand and your thumb faces inwards. So that is the sign for blue. And you'd say the word blue while it's turning. Blue.
Two blue.
Two blue. Two blue. How'd you say two in Spanish?
Dos azul.
Dos.
Dos azul.
Dos azul. Dos azul. Okay, so from the beginning, you go red.
Slow down.
Oh, sorry, slow down. Red, yellow, pink, green, or green, orange. I've got a flower on my head.
That's great.
Oh, orange, purple, and blue. Lovely.
And they all make what here?
And then this is a sign for rainbow. So you go colour and then rainbow is your fingers interlocking with each other and then you create a rainbow like that. So colour, rainbow. Lovely.
Now you.
Your turn. There's someone in the chat. I think someone said something in the chat.
Sorry, we're smashing through things. So those the blurs, we do a 7-week program where the children dress in each of those colours each week. The feedback was ridiculously high. I mean, it's only a small sample group, but it was like 98% knew more of the colours and their numbers in the 7-week program as they did before. And as I say, these characters kind of exist in and out of, as you can see, learning never stops is our idea. The idea that the children, when we go to schools, the blurs kind of run the schools when the children aren't in the classrooms. We videoed some stuff in their schools and then leave that with them. So it's this big idea of another program we do is called Real Make Believe. So it's like facts and figures and stories and fairy tales all mixed into one. So that is a whistle-stop tour of ours and some of Chickenshed's programs. We're sorry that the tech was so bad. I say that's not Almunia's fault. That's just the way of the world. We did have a film that we wanted to show about one of our members, but luckily he's got a cold today, so he wasn't here. So it won't made of much sense. But Almunia can share that film with any of you that wants to see it.
Sorry, you want me to share it, or it's because I was thinking that, well, thank you very much, everyone. I don't know if it would be a good moment to open up this to everyone who is all of our guests to see if anyone has any question. Is that okay?
Yeah, it'll be great. Anna, if I can't see you on there because we can't get the multi-screen. Anna, are you still there? It'd be good to hear about your experiences of the team.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, hello. Okay. I joined Chickenshed about 8 years ago when I lived there in London. Now I'm living in Spain, and I am a puppet maker, and also I am an art teacher. And I started as a volunteer in Chickenshed, making and fixing some puppets. I was very happy because on that time my English was like nothing. I didn't speak English, and Chickenshed
Hinges, you know, hinges.
By hinge, they opened. They were open arms with me. My experience was amazing, and still is amazing, because when I back to Spain, I still working with Chickenshed every year. So it's like a big family for me, and I have learned a lot in Chickenshed about improvisation, about self-confidence. I think it's amazing. It's a very nice project, and I talked with Almudena about Chickenshed because I think we have to share that in all the world.
Well, we say that everyone changes our work, but Anna, you certainly did. You had an amazing. Oh, you did point out. Oh, yeah. So, sorry, I've got a little daisy on my head. My daughter. This is now. I've had to change it to my phone. My daughter's used my Zoom, and there's a daisy, which. As the same ways that we couldn't get the tech working, I can't get this daisy off. But in many cases, it actually helps, because I say it kind of breaks the stale male white stereotype if I have a little daisy on there. So when I go into these meetings, it's actually quite beneficial. Again, the power of chance. So that's why I've got a daisy in my head. I think we should all have daisies. Thank you, Anna.
Anna, because I mean, when I first spoke with you about, well, you spoke to me about Chickenshed, you told me about the experience, because for you it was the first time you felt that they were making a theater for everyone.
Yes.
That you really felt that was diversity in reality. What does it mean, diversity? And Chickenshed was the perfect example of it. So could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, of course, because the first time when I saw on the stage, everyone working together, and it's amazing. I cry every time I see that, because you can see that it's possible, and at the same level. So everyone give the same power and the same capacity to do it. Yes. And I know Almudena is working as well with that. I say, okay, I think it's everything is possible. We can do it. Yes. Art is for everyone.
Absolutely.
That's a very, very nice statement. So Pete, do you mind if I don't know if you want me to share a screen to share everyone that video, or can we have 5 minutes? I know we said we were having 1 hour talk, but we started a little bit late because of these technical problems. Maybe it would be a good opportunity to see if anyone wants to ask some questions or share their own experiences, their own projects. Otherwise, if you give me my permission, maybe we can share your email with anyone who wants to research further and know more things about what you do, because your organization is so big. Obviously, you have the theater space, you have the company, you have the school, which actually is a bachelor's title, no? So you have, as you were saying, projects with schools, projects with hospitals, with so many different in so many different environments. So I mean, 1 hour is nothing to know about you.
It's good that we're working with you together, as well as trying to get a Spanish recorded version of Tales as well. So we want Bass will obviously help us with that, do some voices. Yeah, of course, share the email. All of this work comes from people just sharing ideas and being together. It's not a sorry about that.
Okay, hey, there we go. Hello again.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's like a farce. Yeah.
So
Kenny,
please, anyone who wants to ask some
ask,
questions or make some comments?
Yeah, Almonia, could I just ask Kenny, who's on here, who again has come through a different route, now works with us. Kenny, could you talk a little bit about your experience before any questions?
Sure, yeah. I mean, in my background is I've worked with music writing. I'm a composer, write music for children's theatre, and have done for a very long time. Worked with Vicky many years ago, or Vicky's company, about 30 years ago, Vicky, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, long time ago. But I met Pete on a weekend retreat, which was back in the end of 2019, and we got chatting about what I do, what Chickenshed do. I'm aware of Chickenshed because Chickenshed came up to Scotland many years ago when my daughter and son were quite young, and my daughter was a participant in the project then. So, you know, but as a composer, Pete asked me to do some things with Chickenshed, and we started doing those as little tests back in 2020, and then the apocalypse kicked off, so that kind of brought that to a sort of not a halt, but slowed things down. What we found was, in terms of coming to Chickenshed as a composer, was the freedom, if you like, in terms of like you create. And it never stops. You know, it just rolls on. So when you create something, it really gets used to its absolute capacity in every way, that everything that you do, which is not always the case. You know, you do something, as Pete says, one of the rules is to keep things not fixed and finished. And often when you compose things, it's done and it's dusted and it's used and then it's gone. And that is not how it works at Chickenshed. It's an ongoing, rolling juggernaut of creativity every time you go in to the shed. It never changes. It's you find something new all the time, and so what we try to create is something that can be used very flexibly and have scope within the music to go in many directions and be taken in directions. So that's what I've found as a creative worker in Chickenshed, and we've been doing that now for about 3 years, Pete, something like that, roughly 3 years.
Yeah, now, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kenny. Almonia?
Thank you, Kenny. Yeah. I don't know if anyone else, Vicky, I think you're... Yeah, Vicky.
Yeah.
Go for it. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you as well. I hope I'm not... Am I on echo? No.
No, it's me.
Chickenshed is incredibly important, and as a mentor, I think it could work with many companies who can learn from their technique and their humanity and their joy of life and inclusion. It doesn't matter if you're different, everybody's equally important and celebrated. And I think also, because I've worked with Kenny, I think to find artists of his caliber who will work with you is quite wonderful, because not everybody wants to or whatever, and it makes such a difference. Kenny, I think your music is fantastic, and the whole of Spain should listen to it.
I agree with that, Vicky.
But no, just Chickenshed. We have to learn from you. Long may you reign.
Thank you, Vix. Initially, closing statements.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Anyone else? Anyone around who wants to share something? Some thoughts, statements, questions, or just if you want us to share contacts. Let's give it a second because some people might be in the Spanish channel, maybe possibly making these questions, and Leila has to, you know, translate and then change language. So let's wait for a couple of minutes. Yeah, we can have. Yeah.
Put on some of the tracks from the Christmas show, Pete, in the background now.
Well, we could do that.
Snowflake.
Go on.
You want to put the track on the back?
Yeah, you can start teaching me snowflakes and what is it? Snowflakes and fairy tales.
Yeah, I've sent you the
So,
words.
Just, I would like to ask you something. And this is because, of course, you, as we know, and you mentioned today, Chickenshed has been for how many years? More than 50 years, not since the 70s. And of course, the situation in the 70s was completely different than we have nowadays in terms of how we nowadays approach the idea of inclusion, the idea of accessibility. So how has been this evolution? How do you find this evolution? Do you find that now really in the UK things are different? So when you have to, you know, talk to all the theaters, performers, creators, and explain what you do, how does the sector react into that?
Well, we've talked about this already. I think you say that Spain has got better, but it's still not an equal playing field. So there's still more work to be done, not just about, for all levels, not just about a disability. There's still gender inequality. There's still, in arts, definitely social, where you come from still matters in the arts and in society in general. But Chickenshed, what happened was, we talk a lot about the power of the children's voice. The children or teenagers were the ones that said to the leaders, where are all the other people? We don't see the people, the breadth of what it should be. We're just a certain type. So kind of inclusion came to Chickenshed through the power of the child's voice. And I think all change will be led by tomorrow's voices, the children's voices. So we're very hopeful that things will change, but it's been painfully slow. But things are definitely better than when we started. I mean, there was fear about bringing in a mainstream school and a special school together. It was like these things can't actually happen, and only by having what we talked about. Basically, we need society to have no edge of the stage. You can't. So if you set up the barriers, that's when we become kind of just pointing in one direction. So not banned. No one wants the ban in one direction. But I think all of us here would say that our lives have been enriched by the people that we've come into contact with. And that is the only way. Learning is through experience, and if you close your experience off, you limit yourself.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much, Pete. Really important things. The power of the children's voice is, I think, the most important thing. Also, what you were saying about limiting ourselves, and I will add, just not only giving the voice, but giving them the space to have that voice listened to. So yes, I think we might be finishing right now. I left on the chat my email if anyone wants to contact me for, I don't know, that video you wanted to share or any other kind of question. And I can put in contact anyone with you. And I hope these bridges between the UK and Spain and ASSITEJ International, and I am Vicky, we can keep on developing projects and can keep on, sharing ideas and sharing spaces with technical problems. But hopefully next time will be like, you know, in 3D, and no technical problems will happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
thank you for bringing us together. You are an amazing practitioner yourself, and to be able to do this in English and Spanish is awe-inspiring. So
yeah,
congratulations to you as well.
No, and thank you very much for teaching sign language. That's amazing. For taking that time to do that. It's been absolutely wonderful. I just want to read out loud a message that Ruth Sellers sent, saying thank you everyone. Want to introduce myself before we go. I'm Ruth Sellers at the University of Cambridge, research focusing on families, youth development and mental health. And she left the website. So if I'm working with Chickenshed too. Yeah. So she left the website as well if you want to copy this. Yeah.
Ruth is quite possibly one of the most intelligent people. I mean, I don't know how she keeps her head up, her brain's so big. She is a wealth of knowledge, and Rudd Institute are an incredible example of high academia being open to inclusion as a tool for change. So she's amazing.
Very generous. Thank you.
I thought you'd gone.
But we recently, our research group recently worked with the Tales from the Shed to develop a workshop that focused on translating some of our research that was focusing on conflict between parents and how that might impact on youth school engagement. So working with practitioners and parents to understand the youth perspectives. So it was just a really fantastic way of thinking about using the arts, not just in terms of the way that already been mentioned about this afternoon, but also thinking about how we can use the arts creatively as a communication tool.
So I feel embarrassed now. I thought you'd gone. I wouldn't have talked about you like that.
Yeah, me too. Sorry about that. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Hope to see you soon. Hope to hear from you soon. And we'll keep on working towards inclusion and accessibility and the power of arts. So have a very good night. Good evening, and see you very soon.
Bye.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.